Okay, we're going to go ahead and kind of give a complete scope of what we're going to be doing here on this roof, or what we're proposing for our customer here. As you can see, he's going to pan around a little bit, and you can see what type of roof this is. Basically, this is a R panel type roof. It's probably a 26 gauge thick material in a galvalume or galvanized type of surface. So basically, it's a non-painted type of roof that's on this building. Basically, this building is what's called a red iron structure, or a pre-engineered type building. The purlins here are 5 foot apart, and you've got an 1.25 inch high rib here on this metal. And of course, you've got the inherent problem with some of these roofs is you've got horizontal laps in the panels, and you've also got vertical laps in the panels every 3 feet. So the more laps you've got in a panel, the more likely that the roof is to leak. Okay, what we're proposing here to do for this particular roof is we will use a styrofoam rigid insulation board, 1.25 inches thick. And what this does, it'll be about, just measure right here, about 8 inches wide. And you're going to put that insulation board panel, and you can get these panels from your local insulation folks. There's a lot of people around that have these panels that can cut these to your size. They can cut them 8 inches wide, 1.25 inches thick. Okay, so what's going to happen is you're going to place these pieces of insulation in here, and we're going to call those flute fillers, because this is a flute, and we're just going to kind of fill them up. So we're going to basically be with these panels, these insulation panels, to the top of this area here. So we're going to have a little gap right here because we don't have these tapered, but that's not a problem, because we're going to come in here and overlay this roof with 4 foot by 8 foot sheets of insulation board, probably isocyanurate insulation board, and that's going to have an R10 value in itself. And we're going to overlay this to hold down all of our insulation flutes in here. And this also gives us a substrate on which we're going to place our PVC roofing membrane, or our thermoplastic heat welded roofing membrane. So basically, these areas here, the insulation can be just laid in loose, and then you can come in with your 4 by 8 sheets of insulation, overlay them. And of course, we've already went over how we're going to attach those with the 3-inch diameter steel discs and screws. We've already checked the roof to make sure that we've got a good adequate pull-out value on the roof, so that our screws are going to hold properly. So basically, when we would start a section, and we would get our insulation flute fillers down, and then we get our overlay board, then we're going to come in with a membrane roof system, a heat welded membrane roof system, generally white. And we're going to start, of course, at the bottom edge, and we're going to go up this roof, and so we'll have positive water overlap on those. And those are going to we're going to fuse those 2 seams together with a hot air. There's no flame involved. It's just basically a hot air welded type situation. Those welded seams, and we'll show you a little bit later on a video, those welded seams are actually stronger than the material itself. So properly welded, when you pull those apart, you want to see them screaming out, and you want to see the scrim in there, because we want the weld to be stronger than the material itself. Those welds are going to be about 7 times stronger than a typical EPDM rubber membrane joint or seam that's put together with a seam tape or a splicing type adhesive. So we've got a lot better seam strength on this type of roof. Basically, you're going to probably have on this particular job, we're going to probably cut this edge back, and we're going to take this gutter off, because we're going to put in new gutter and downspouts on the whole entire roof. And And what we'll do is we'll install a wood nailer along this edge and along these gable edges up here to attach our trims to our edge trims and our gable trims and our eave trims, so that we can flash this out. And of course we're going to have a new gutter here. We have pipe boots around any penetrations like this steam pipe or this heating pipe here. Basically, we're going to cut our insulation up close here and fit everything in properly, and then we're going to have a large rubber, a large elastomeric boot that goes down over this pipe. You simply take this top off of this thing, put your boot down, weld your edges, and we'll show you all this in a later video. Weld your edges or your flange down to your membrane, and so you've got a good watertight seal. The same way with any of these areas out here on the balance of the roof. You've got a lot of areas out in this roof that pipes and heat fans and penetrations. You're going to address all those with the proper types of flashings and seal. So this complete roof, when you get it done, basically is going to be a monolithic heat welded membrane roof system, and you really don't have any seams or joints for the roof to leak or to fail in. So I guess pretty much that's pretty much gives us a pretty good idea of the overview of what the roof work that would take place. Anytime you're on a roof like this, and we've got some steam coming out of here, and this is basically just water steam. There's no really contaminants or no chemicals in there that would cause that would mist on the roof and cause it to deteriorate. But you do have to be aware of certain industrial environments. You do have some emissions from some of the steam stacks that could potentially be detrimental to the membrane roof system. So in that case, you want to make sure that the membrane you're using is able to withstand that chemical exposure, or those exposures that may end up misting on the roof over a long period of time. It's not like that. It's not really like they're dangerous. It's just that over a long period of time they could do a little bit of damage to the roof and cause it to fail maybe prematurely. But that'll be good for now. We'll talk a little bit more about the membrane insulation and some of the seaming techniques a little bit later in an additional video.